Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soothing Sundays. I'll wait a second for you guys to come in and ask questions. I'm going to go over neurological reprogramming technique and then get into some questions for the week and some themes I saw through the week. So this will be fun. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys. So I'm going to do actually two neurological reprogramming techniques today, but because they kind of build off of each other. And if you've been following along on Soothing Sundays, some of the techniques I've done involve the Silva method, which is very powerful. I would definitely recommend reading about like the Silva method books. The name of the books can be kind of intimidating because it's called Silva method for like mind control, but it's controlling your mind and not letting negative aspects of your mind, your inner critic, control your life so you can be the best version of yourself, manifest things that you never thought were possible, because that's what Jose Silva, who invented it, did. He was an engineer, but he was just like, okay, the mind is actually a computer. And he just had this like download where he's like, we can actually control it and program it in these ways. And we are actually in control of our mind. It's not controlling us. And that's why the Silva method is so powerful and has positively impacted so many people. So I'm going to go over two techniques that kind of feed off of each other for that, but they're based on other ones that I've gone over, which I will briefly go over. But I also recommend, if you do get into the Silva method, if you get the book, get the audiobook, because it takes you through all of these exercises and you're going to want to be able to listen while you're mentally going through the exercises. And it doesn't matter if you're good at meditating or not, it will help you. It will literally help refine how you are able to control your mind, especially if you do have anxiety or any type of, you get in like these spirals of anything. It could be worry, it could be anything. The the Silva method really helps you master your mind. Like, you are in control of your mind. You are using your mind to create the life that you want, and not the opposite. Not where your mind is like, you feel like a slave to your mind, you feel like a slave to your emotions. It reverses all of that, where you realize that your mind is a tool for you to get anything that you want. And you start to understand how powerful your mind is. So I will never not recommend that book or any of those methods. But I do recommend, even if you're not an audiobook person, get the audiobooks, because you can sit and listen and have your um mind reprogrammed in that way. Hey guys. Hello, I comment to make you angry. Um, so okay, so I'm going to get into the first method that I was talking about from the Silva method. And so if you've been following along on Soothing Sundays, it is the method. It's all about getting into a theta state of consciousness. So getting your brain from like a beta, oh my god, worrying about stuff, and like basically being like controlled by like the matrix and media and all this stuff. If you're in a theta state of consciousness, that's what's called a flow state. That's where you're just in creative mode and things just come to you. You're very peaceful. So we want to be in that state. So you want to get there, and you could do the 3-2-1 method by just sing the 3-3-3-2-2-2-1-1-1 in your head. But and go to my other Soothing Sundays to go over that, the 3-2-1 method. It's very powerful. But anyway, you want to get into a relaxed state. However you get there, you want to get into a relaxed state. Whether you're using 3-2-1 method, you definitely have to breathe. People forget to breathe. It's a real thing. And it could lead to a lot of headaches and bad things and cortisol spikes. So I just want you to slow down your breathing big time. No matter what technique you use to get into a relaxed state, get into a complete relaxed state. And then you're going to do a body scan from literally the top of your head here, like feel all through your scalp, the front of your face, the back, all the way down your body as you're breathing deeply. And then when you start to feel all the way down to your toes, and then when you get into a peaceful state, here's the thing, hear me out. And if you're not familiar with the Silva method, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?" But here's what you're gonna do. When you are in high big Pontiac, when you are in that theta state where you're just relaxed, you're gonna bring these 2 fingers, your index and middle finger, and your thumb together. And there's a reason, like, in different, in yoga, they put but there is something that happens neurologically when you put these 2 fingers together. You can look it up later, but the Silva method also goes over this. So you're gonna breathe deeply, and you're telling yourself, "Whenever these 3 fingers are together, I'm in a relaxed state. Whenever these 3 fingers are together, I am in a theta state, and I have mental clarity, and everything is just I'm open to the solution coming in." Okay? So if you do those things, and when I first heard that, I was like, "Seriously?" But, like, your nervous system does respond to it, and that is why you see people do this a lot when they're talking, and that's also why you see people do this. Like, a lot of people, like, I don't know if you've looked up the things about, "Oh, this is a power thing," or whatever, but when these fingers are touching in this way, your brain is in a theta state. And so that's why when you see people, look when you see people talking or in interviews, that's why they do this, or this. And then there's a guy that talks about the Silva method a lot, and when he's talking, and no one notices it, but like I did, and he eventually talked about it. He always has one hand like this while he's giving a speech. So that is something to incorporate. It is very helpful. Just to do, especially if you're doing something on Zoom, you could have one hand here and you could just be talking like this, and then your other hand is here. And you're just telling your brain and your subconscious mind that when I'm doing this, I'm in a peaceful state and I'm in a flow state, and that everything is going well when I'm doing this. Or you could do it with anything. You could be like, okay, when I have both feet on the ground, it could be anything. It's all about training your subconscious mind. Okay, and so the other technique that is very powerful, and then for whatever reason, I feel like there's a wave or like a theme with my clients sometimes, or for the week, or people that ask me questions. And so when you are just so in your head about something and you really feel like some pattern is pervasive, it's never going to end, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try, like, again, use the breathing to calm yourself down. And I want you to think about either this, like an old wise person, some sage or whatever, or a version of you that's super older than you are. So the 86-year-old version of you, the 90-year-old version of you. I don't know what it is. And then ask, okay, what is the perspective I need to have on this? How do you think about this? And I guarantee you it'll be like, "You're freaking out, like, here's what to do." Like, so, or something like that. It will give you some wise sage advice. And it is part of the Silva method, but it's also part of, family systems, like inner child work, but it's like the parenting side of it. So we do the inner child work, we talk to, like, the children versions of ourselves, but then we also have our inner parents and our inner grandparents that are loving us and taking care of us. Maybe they weren't the parents that we grew up with, but they really love and care for us and support us. So what you're going to do is think about that version of yourself. Like, again, the 85-year-old version of yourself, the 95-year-old version of yourself, and whatever is on your mind, ask that version of yourself. What do you think about this? I'm freaking out about it. I'm judging myself about it. I have anxiety, whatever thing that you have. Can you give me some advice? Just leave it as open-ended as possible, and then see what that older version of you says, or that, like, sage. If you don't wanna think about an older version of yourself, just think about some type of wise person that you would trust, that you really admire, that's just very calm and peaceful, and what they would tell you. Okay? Just try it this week. Those are your 2 things. So this one, and then asking the inner sage or that older, wiser version of yourself. And it's a version of yourself that just has all their needs met, is just, like, accomplished everything and is just chill, just sitting on a mountaintop, like, or whatever, a beach, and just, yeah, like, I can't, what are you even worried about? Like, just let it happen. The worry is stopping it from happening, dude. Lady, ma'am, like, just if you can, and you'll probably hear, so I don't want to influence in any way, but it will be a very peaceful message that you get. I guarantee that. Okay, let's see. That stuff works. is always that stuff that isn't mainstream or just to be wary, sift through who's crazy, who's intelligent. It's a fine line. I mean, yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. It's just those things they do, and it's just here's the thing, they work, and I feel like a lot of mainstream like, the pharmaceutical industry, like, wouldn't exist that much if it worked, like, do you guys know that they used to perform surgeries by hypnotizing people, like fucking eye surgeries. They would put people in a hypnotic state and to perform these things before anesthesia existed. That's how powerful your mind is. Like, that is the reason I exist in your reality, to let you know how powerful your mind is. That's all I want you guys to know, just so you can empower yourself and have whatever the fuck you want in life. But like, if your mind is so powerful that it could, through hypnosis or suggestion or whatever, visualization, can produce like the effects that anesthesiology has, like whatever that's called. Like, think about what your mind can do. Think about what your mind can create in a fucking instant. Think about it. Um, Big Pontiac, I need that when I go into MRI. Um, oh, okay, yeah, like the technique. Yeah, MRIs can be intense, and like I would definitely, that could be a space where you definitely go inward, Big Pontiac, when you are in a doing an MRI. Like, just go inward, ask your wise sage, the older version of yourself, if you are spiritual in any way, and I mean, I am. And so I do believe that there are a lot of other things on the other side that are just helping us out, and you could just like, hey, have any messages for me, any words of wisdom, because I am in my little, like, my inner critic is taking over, which is just fear based and having me freak out about shit that I don't need to freak out about. I come in to make you angry. Whoa. You are saying, are you saying asking your older self? Yeah. Yeah, ask the an older version of yourself and see what they say. And, and you could also visualize, and when I'm saying an older version of yourself, like, that has accomplished everything that you wanna accomplish and more, and is in their nervous system is in a state of peace and tranquility. Envision that version of yourself that's older. And it's like, okay, here you are, you've accomplished everything. So, like, and now I'm this version of myself. So can you give me some advice? Because I don't wanna spend all of my precious energy worrying about something when I know that's the solution is here. And I know you have friends like that, or you maybe have like a nephew or niece, and it's like, just calm down, here, trust me. Like, and so, but can you do that for yourself? And that is the other side of family systems work or inner child work, is like that channeling or talking to that inner parent, inner grandparent, that like wise person. Big panic. I have to tell myself I'm not being harmed, and I'm creating, hold on, I need to expand this. What's happening? Um, I don't know what that is. Okay. I have to tell myself I'm not being harmed, and I'm creating fear that doesn't exist. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Remember that. Fear is false evidence appearing real. So, and fear lives, it's a low vibrational energy that tries to thrive off of lies, right? All fear is lies, because the highest vibrations are love, peace, and joy. So, and those are the only things that exist. If you've ever done A Course in Miracles, which is very intense, but the whole point of it is to condition your mind to understand that the only real vibration that exists is love, and that everything else, that fear, is just this manipulative illusion that can be very convincing sometimes. A lot of marketing, a lot of media, a lot of politics are based on fear. So it's a pervasive illusion, and it's very, very convincing sometimes. Um, I'm sorry to hear that, Big Pine. How is the evidence false? Um, So you have evidence like that's in your mind, like, oh, this is going to happen. Like the fear is like, or the inner critic, which is very fear based, is like, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You're a terrible person telling you all this shit about you that's not true. So they're trying to provide all this evidence of things that haven't happened or things about yourself that aren't true that you have maybe chosen to believe. So that's the false evidence appearing real. And it can be so real sometimes. Even if you've had an experience in the past, I have to remind you that the past doesn't exist anymore and that you can rewrite your future anytime. Neville Goddard's revision technique that I talk about a lot, I think I talked about it on Wednesday, is about that. It's just dropping the old story, just fucking dropping the old story, which is mind blowing. Like when I heard it, I'm like, that. So you want me to pretend like the past didn't exist? What the fuck? But it was keeping, because the past can keep you in a loop that isn't serving you. So you can say, okay, that happened to me. And I'm going to choose to drop that story. And then after a while, you stop identifying with that old story so much that it doesn't, if the past doesn't exist, you're not keeping it alive anymore. You can say, like, okay, that doesn't apply to me anymore. I mean, when I talk about the past, especially when I'm talking about narcissist and I'm teaching people in my course, yeah, I will get into details about like this happened to me, just so you know, like you can start here and then get here. And it really is possible to not have these toxic people have you in a chokehold all the time. So, yes, the whole thing of like the false evidence, even if it's so real, even if you are in an abusive relationship and someone's like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, I'm in this abusive relationship and you maybe feel like you're a piece of shit. You can decide, because that person is telling you that, you can decide at any moment, I'm creating something new. I'm creating a new reality for myself. And from this moment forward, I get to be in loving relationships. I get to only attract people that meet my energy because I'm a nice, generous person and a loving, supportive person. So I'm only going to do that. At any moment, you could decide to change things. And sometimes at first that's kind of mind blowing. It was for me, but then then it's like, okay, yes, that's what I'm choosing. That's the timeline, or not even the timeline, that's the consciousness I'm choosing to operate at instead of just living in fear all the time. Love, peace, and joy. Just like the highest vibrations are love and peace and joy, and also authenticity. But I would argue that authenticity goes under peace, because when you are authentic, you're very peaceful. You're just you. There's a lot of rhetoric about, yeah, no, the highest state of consciousness, it's not peace, it's authenticity. I think that goes under peace. Like you're very peaceful when you're not having to perform for anyone. Um, what explain this theory, this love theory? Love or above? What do you guys mean? What did what are you talking about, love theory? Are you talking about when I was talking about the Course in Miracles? Like, what do you mean love or above? And the comment to make you angry, what did you mean, like, explain the love theory? Because in A Course in Miracles, um, it's just so interesting, like how that book was created and what it's all about. But this woman that was like basically a very angry, like atheist, um, she was like fighting with her coworkers, and then she got this like major download, and she's like, I'm losing my mind, like someone take me to the loony bin or whatever. And then so this guy that was her coworker, they all taught psychology, and he's like, you're having a spiritual awakening, dumbass. But he didn't say it like that, but because I used to fight. And he's like, okay, before you think you're crazy, like let's record things and see. And he was just like, no, you're getting downloads. And that's also what happens. Like kind of the most incredulous people end up converting and understanding what God is, like, or the most atheist, like incredulous, like don't believe in God type of people end up having this big conversion because they get these downloads. And so the point is that like she kind of like fought with everyone. And then so she was getting all this channeling that like really the only thing that exists in this world is love and everything else is an illusion. So fear is an illusion. The only thing that exists is love. So if you have part of you that hates someone, it's a call for you to love part of yourself. It's a call for you to love part whatever you hate about that person, you might hate about yourself, and it's a call for you to, like, love that part of yourself and release any guilt that you might have about that part of yourself or accepting that type of behavior or anything, but everything is love or a call for you to love it. That is what the Course in Miracles is about. And there's a book called A Return to Love, which kind of like if you want to understand A Course in Miracles in like a tinier book, um, there's a book called A Return to Love that talks all about that and explains it in a kind of a more a simpler way because I mean, I've tried to read A Course in Miracles so many times, and eventually you have to do it with someone. And like every day, there's like a different lesson you're supposed to read, and some of them are so dense, and you're not even supposed to understand it. You're just supposed to read it and let it get into your subconscious mind. But it's pretty wild and it's pretty interesting. Let's see. Honesty is a green flag for women. Honesty is a green flag for anyone. So I think, I don't know. Faith over fear, always the expansionist. Hi, the expansionist. Good to see you. Faith over fear in all situations, I think, is great. I comment and like necessary. Otherwise, we're going to succumb to fear and it's going to control us. Downloads, I understand this. Love exists. Everything is an illusion. I'm trying to understand. Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild concept, and that's why the Course in Miracles, like some of the lessons repeat because it's like you're not supposed to logically understand it. Your logical mind is meant for other things. It's meant to do things, and like this is like a subconscious thing, and it's also connecting to different spiritual planes. It's just supposed to raise your vibration, so you're not supposed to like logically understand everything. But I have to, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with the flow. And I finally found someone to do the Course in Miracles with, and we would just text about it every day. And it does sink in and it does calibrate you in a good way. Like that year that I did it was a very powerful year for me, but it did shift a lot of things. It got a lot of shit out of my life, a lot of shit people out of my life. Checking in the live stream. Hi, James. Hi, Lauren. Great to see you too, James. Let me see if I missed any of you guys. Love or above? Yes, Big Pontiac. Okay. And so there was a comment that I got. And typically I got a comment, and it was actually on YouTube. And typically, like when things are super negative, I erase them because it's just not the vibe. But um, I did a post just the other day about the fact that and it was just about it was a method to rewire your brain. But the thing is like your mind is so powerful. So if you decide I'm gonna have this, I can have it now. Like, and the whole idea of being delusional, I'm sure like on social media you hear people like just be delusional. There is some validity to that. And like the term be delusional is like just suspend reality. Like let all of your fears go. That's really what be delusional means. Like let whatever circumstance is happening now, like, but this, remember when Tim would come in all the time and be like, but, like letting go of your inner Tim and just deciding to have a new experience and dropping all of the old fear, dropping the whole story. So that's what that post was about. I think I posted it on Thursday or Friday. And this woman, I'm not going to read everything she said because it was just dark and gross, and she's obviously very much hurting. But she said, be careful telling people that that's so grandiose. Some people might get jealous if you have the things that you want to have and will do anything in their power to take it away. She wrote this. This is like literally on YouTube on one of my shorts. And then they'll even go as far as to like, off you and like the things. I don't want to read it, like what the words that she wrote. But like it was just so dark. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, but you're projecting a lot of your unhealed trauma onto my post. You can literally have whatever you want. And but your previous trauma is holding you back. And I wrote a very long thing. And then she's like, that's your opinion. Like, like so angry at me. And I'm like, literally, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave this here so people understand what like, you know, sickness and mental illness looks like, but you need help. And I was like, I'm not even trying to like, I feel so bad for you. I'm just sending you the best. But some people are so like dark and gross. And I mean, it is gross energy. I'm an empath. So like when you know, I also, it feels gross. Like I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Yeah. It must have been a day ago. I was wearing, like, this black hat, like, the black hat that I always wear. I had, like, a black sweater on, but anyway, she was just so triggered by the fact that I'm like, "You can rewrite, like, you can have whatever you want," you know? And she's like, "No, you can't, this happened to me," and it's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "I you know what?" And I've told you guys this before, I've had a ton of bad shit happen to me, and I'm doing what I do to let you know, like, I'm living proof, like, my whole course, both of my courses, like thriving after narcissistic relationships and toxic abuse, or toxic relationships and narcissistic abuse, and then the one on imposter syndrome. I only did those courses because I created those courses because I've been through that shit. I have been through like the trudges of it all. And I know it fucking sucks. And I know that you have points in your journey where you feel like it's impossible and you want to give up and you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, why is this happening to me? And you feel like a fucking victim. And that's why I have this thing about like, hey, don't stay in victimhood. I have felt sorry for myself so many times, and I'm okay with you venting and getting that out of you. Like you have to have that like anger release and like fuck this and like feeling like a victim for emotions are energy in motion. So let that flow through you, but then we don't stay in the victim state. We don't stay in the victim state. Then we use that to empower ourselves. And in my case, I just had like a deep calling. Like I always knew I wanted to be a therapist. I didn't know like exactly how it was gonna, you know, but I knew that I was just meant to help people. And so when I felt like I got through like the Sophia stage that I talk about, like then I felt like comfortable enough to help people. Some people are fucked. I mean, some people are like, you know, I talked about this before. Some people are like hairdressers that have the worst hair and they're just cutting people's hair. Fine. If you want to do that and you want to hang out with those people, fine. But I just take this very seriously and I take helping people very seriously. Um, let's see. A comment to make you angry. I feel like I might be in the erased group. What do you mean? No, you're not in the erased group. What do you mean? Um, she's dark and gross. She's hurting. This is why I love Lauren. I mean, I'm just telling the truth, and I'm always gonna be real with you guys. Your opinion, but your opinion, but you're a professional. That's opinions, and then there's a pin. Something's blocking it. But yeah. I mean, it's not gonna make a lot of sense if you're not like empathic. But even though I really do think that everyone has like empathy ability, because you just like you have like people call it vibes, like or energy or whatever. You know, and I just maybe have it to a stronger degree, but it's also just like if you work out every day in the gym, like you maybe you'll be more athletic than someone, but I do think that everyone has the ability to to be like empathic and have intuitive senses. What some people call like psychic or whatever. I mean, I've had my clients be like, "Are you fucking psychic?" And I'm just like, I I can just tell, you know? And so, but yeah, so some people's energy is really, especially if they're unhealed, it's so dark and heavy and like it feels, and I don't know how to, it's, this might sound weird, but it's like musty. And so, you know, and these people, they find my channel and people that are doing what I do, and then they rage on it. They're like, no, it's fucked up. I'm a victim. I'm going to be a victim forever. La la la. Okay, if that's what you want. And speaking of victimhood, I'll tell you guys a funny story. I filmed it when this happened, but I went to Sprouts. If you guys have a Sprouts, depending on where you live, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's like kind of like a natural grocery store, right? And they have the little bins so you could like scoop nuts and like granola and all that stuff. Do you guys have a grocery store like that around where you just do that? Okay. So I went to Sprouts because I wanted these like certain cashews. So I go, and this fucking woman, like I turn the corner and she's, like, putting her hand, and this is, like, for public, like, she's putting her hand in the bin of pistachios. She's just, like, and she has, like, nails and stuff, like, gross, and then just eating the pistachios like a little fucking squirrel and I'm like, and she was blocking my cashews with her big freaking body, and I'm like, "Excuse me." And then she looks at me, and then I just, like, looked at her, like, all disgusted, and then I'm like, "Excuse me." And I'm like, "Also, can you not steal from Sprouts?" And I was like, "But if you are gonna steal from Sprouts, can you at least, like, scoop it and put it in your hand instead of infecting all of the pistachios and, like, eating it?" "Oh, yeah, no, I shouldn't do that." She literally said that, and then she goes away. Okay, then I turn the corner, and she's eating out of some other bins, just putting her hands in there, and I'm like, "That you just" it's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I know I shouldn't be doing that." And I'm like, "So then why are you doing it again?" Then she tells me, "I have PTSD from my husband." And I go, "You know what? I am a mental health professional. I'm a therapist. I have an advanced degree in psychology, and there is no symptom of stealing from grocery stores and eating food out of bins for PTSD. Okay, I've had PTSD, so don't even fucking go there." I was like gangster about it, you guys, because it was just so gross and like I wasn't into it. And and the old me wouldn't have done that, but I'm like, no, you don't get to do that. Like, you don't get to infect everyone with your thing and just like act like a victim because you you have PTSD, and who even knows if that's true, but you're whatever your ex-husband did to you, I've been in toxic relationships, I get it, has nothing to do with you putting your hands in, like, public bins where other people are gonna get food, eating out of it like a fucking squirrel. Okay. So, you're coming to the wrong place if you think you like whatever your thing is, if you want to stay in victimhood, don't be up in my channel. Okay. Because I'm here to like empathize and tell you that you are loved and supported and know that like I just want you to know how loved you are and, like, how powerful your mind is, and I want you to be the best version of yourself. But I'm not here to, like, support anyone's victimhood or anything because that's keeping you sick. And I do think that, like, the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, social media is a lot of it is to keep you sick, and that really bothers me a lot, and I want you to be the best version of yourself. So I'll always yeah, so I'm just not about that. You're right, Lauren, you're brave and yeah, I am. I don't know, I'm an Aries. No, it's not because I'm an Aries, but, like, I used to be I used to feel that way and not say anything, and then I would do this thing, and this happens with a lot of people that have codependent tendencies, which I used to have, is that I would be what's called an exploding doormat. So you're just a doormat, you don't say anything, even though you're like bubbling under the surface or you're very angry about something. You could even passive aggressive, and then that doormat eventually explodes. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck? You've been sitting on the ground and letting people walk all over you for so long, and then you're exploding. It doesn't make sense. So, no more exploding doormat. Those days are over. Yes, I comment to make you angry. It was weird. Hello, SRR. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm gonna take a sip of water. I'm gonna mute this for a second because I don't want you to hear me gulp because I have misophonia. If you don't know what misophonia is or you haven't seen my post on that, it's when you have too many neural connections in the auditory cortex of your brain and the limbic system, which is like fight or flight. And so certain sounds, especially like mouth sounds, like gross you out so much, like or even certain words gross me out so like if you have misophonia, but it definitely like gulping and smacking, even your own, it's just gross or even, like it's different for different people that have misophonia, but, even, like, the word nibble, I remember a guy was, like, trying to ask me out. I wasn't into like, I didn't like his energy anyway, and I just needed, like, one little sign, and he's like, "Let's get some nibbles." I was like, "Gross." I, like, blocked him. I'm like, "Ugh." I don't know. There's something about certain words. Yeah, I cannot. I would never slurp Jello. Like, the thought of slurping Jello, oh, if you have misophonia, like, it just will or hyperosmia. Hyperosmia is just like misophonia, but it's with the, with your smell. I can't think of the cortex it's called, but with your smell, or I can, but I'm just blanking out. But anyway, if you can, I mean, I can smell things from a distance, especially if like someone hasn't washed their hair. There's certain smells that just send me. Um, so anyway, I would love to calm that down. It's just a little bit difficult sometimes. I have noticed that when I'm in a theta state or I take saffron, um, it calms down a lot. And saffron's really good for your brain, by the way, guys. Um, that it calms down a lot, but it's still a little bit intense. So, but that and the only other thing I did make a post on it, and I talked about it on Wednesday, was like the whole, like, not letting people steal your energy, like, not letting the freeloaders. I call them parasites. I call them energetic parasites. Freeloading people, energetic parasites. Narcissists are that way. Narcissists are huge energetic parasites. Borderline, all of the personality disorders are energetic parasites because instead of doing something to contribute to their mental health and they just cause chaos, right? They just make everything worse, and they kind of thrive off of the drama, acting like a victim and making you feel like shit, and then doing that like rinse and repeat, like doing that cycle all over again. But for me personally, I just had this huge tidal wave of kind of like energetic parasites that I had an opportunity to get rid of. Like people asking me to, it was like so bizarre. People asking me in my DMs and my business WhatsApp, just like for like just hey, can you go over my business plan? And I'm not talking about here like when I answer your questions, because I know like the questions that you guys have, they help everyone, right? Like they're questions that seem like you're so alone, but I'm like, I'm here to tell you you're not alone, and like a lot of other people have these questions, especially about like toxic relationships and stuff. So um so these people are just like, oh yeah, can you go over my business plan and do this? And I'm like, no, you can hire me to like this person, like, oh, I know you'd be so good at it. Yes, bitch, I would be good at it. That's why I charge for my services. It would be like going to a mechanic and being like, "You know what? I know that you're just such a good mechanic. And so can you just I don't know, fix my engine or whatever needs help, just, because you're so good." No, bitch. It's so disrespectful. And so and that but that is a lesson that empaths and have to learn, and people that are recovering from any type of codependent thing have to learn, is that to have boundaries, and to you don't have to just always do things for people because they ask. Because a lot of people are just takers. So if a tall, handsome, if a tall, handsome, if a tall, handsome ever walks up to you, handsome what? Bear ever walks up, walks up to you and says, "Hey, girl, gonna go steal some energy. It's me." That's my pickup line. Yeah, I would run. But you know what? If you are an empath or someone that has dealt with that and healed from that, you just know right away. I mean, people, think I've talked about this before, but the guy that I refer to as Angry Midget was a multi-billionaire and not like handsome, whatever, like not, I hate to give him any, that's just me and my ego. But I was just like, I fucking hate you. Like, I mean, you're such an energy vampire. You're, very narcissistic. And then, for years he'd be like watching all my videos. He's like, "Am I a narcissist?" Like, bitch, what do you think? Of course you're a narcissist. So yeah, I don't care how tall, handsome, or whatever that you are. If it's not an energy match, and this is true for all of you guys, like there gets to be a synergy. You get to receive what you give, and so someone gets to be an energy match for you. Otherwise, you're gonna get drained and resentful. This is what's gonna happen, unfortunately. Um, but if it does, it's like it's no worries. It's a lesson, right? And it's an opportunity to upgrade your standards. That's why I'm always having you guys think about your standards and raise your standards. And think about what you want for every area of your life, your health, wealth, relationships, career. Like, literally write down, it's like, "Okay, here are my new standards. From this moment forward, I have this much or more in my bank account. From this moment forward, I always have, um, this body fat percentage," whatever you want your body composition to be. If you really declare that, write all your standards down and you really freaking declare that, it will like, things will fall into place. We always default to our standards, subconsciously or consciously, but subconsciously is where I want you to imprint them because you default to um, what you subconsciously accept. So think about that and be really real with yourself. And it's okay if you've accepted less than you want, need, or deserve. I certainly have. There's no shame in it. I'm never trying to like shame you guys. I just want you to have everything that you want in life. No, I'm not. I mean, no, I'm calm. I'm just saying it was an opportunity for me to talk about that. No, I don't wanna do that, ever. I never wanna be an ally with anyone. I love it when you shame me. Oh god, gross. Um, so you know what the other thing that I wanna talk to you guys about, and I want you to at least for today, because everything is cyclical, everything is like, we could always be on or we'll, like, drain our nervous system, and we can't always be low, but, like, if you are someone that's always putting so much pressure on yourself, I want you to take time to relax, like, just take the rest of Sunday to relax. Take the like, or and do something that would feel good to you, whatever that is. Hopefully, it's something that is good for your body, like, I don't know, going in a sauna or, like, going for a walk or something, or just going to bed a little bit earlier, do something it's because sometimes when I say that, they're like, "Okay, what would be good for me is to binge watch something till 2 in the morning." That's not what I'm talking about. I'm okay, like, do that every once in a while, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is doing something that would regulate your nervous system, that would be good for the future version of yourself, and that would just feel good, and maybe it could be, like, uncomfortable. Like, maybe it's like, "Oh, I don't usually do that," or "I don't usually, I've been wanting to do that, but just go do it. Just go do it and see what happens." But think of it as like a self-care Sunday type of thing, and I want you to put yourself first and prioritize yourself in that way. Okay, does anyone have any other questions about mental health, relationships, um, anything else for the week? And then, of course, always on Soothing Sundays, we are visualizing having the best week ever. Um, and we're deciding, we're making a very conscious choice to not listen to our inner critic that we sometimes think is ourselves. We're making a conscious decision to not listen to our inner critic that's like, "Oh my God, this, anxiety about this, depression about the past." You decide to be in this moment and decide that you have everything that you want, even if you don't. Like, you have everything that you want. And if not, it's coming to you very soon. And you're going to have the best rest of the Sunday, and you're gonna have the best week ever. You can just decide that. Like, tonight is gonna be a really good night, and this week is gonna be a really good week. Um, let's see, James, I'm relaxing after 1 hour of cardio. Good, nice. An 8-hour work shift. Looking forward to watching Lakers rock. Nice. I love that. That's exactly what I'm talking about, James. Like, that's perfect. You worked and then you did something nice for your body, and now you're gonna enjoy the Lakers game. That sounds perfect. I'm very happy and excited for you. Yay. Um, thank you for that. Um, so anyway, that's all I have for today, guys. I think this week I'll probably go live again on Wednesday. Um, but if you guys don't have any other questions, I'll wrap up now. It's good to see you. And if there's any other thing like in the future that you want me to talk about or go over, I really just go over like themes for the week, like some people ask me questions. Usually, like, if I have a client ask me a question, it's like 3 clients will ask me the same thing, or I'll get, like, DMs about it, or I'll get it's really interesting how, like, just, like, energy flows like that. Thank you, Big Pontiac. Awesome as always, you're killing it. Thank you, guys. Um, so yeah, just but please promise me, you guys, that you'll do something to regulate your nervous system, the techniques that I went over earlier or that I have in the past on Soothing Sundays, and then just decide that whatever it is, you're going to have the best week ever with your wealth, relationships, career. It's going to be the best week. Okay, let's like just kill the I mean in the best way, like have the best end of April. It's been a good month. So it's going to be let's just finish the month and like have it be the best rest of April into May ever. Um okay guys. And if you guys think of anything, you could always DM me about it if you want me to talk about anything in preparation for Wednesday or you want me to make a video about it. All right, guys. Love you. I'll see you again soon on Wednesday.